Welcome back to ReCall the Midwife. I'm Becky.
I'm Alex.
I'm Jen, and a reminder that this week's episode deals with abortion and sexual assault. So if either of these topics are ones you would prefer to skip this time, we understand and hope you join us for the next one.
In this episode, we meet Nora Harding. Nora is already a mother of 8, and when she feels her baby move for the first time, she realizes she's still in the family way, despite trying to abort the baby by paying a local woman, Mrs. Pritchard, 2 guineas for a herbal remedy. Her husband, Bill, is out of work, and they're struggling to feed the children they already have. After trying to terminate the pregnancy herself, Nora turns to Mrs. Pritchard once more with dire consequences. Sister Bernadette is struggling with her faith and turns to Sister Julienne for advice, but they're interrupted when Sister Julienne is called away to attend to Sister Monica Joan, who's been taken to hospital. Sister Monica Joan and Sister Evangelina are going on holiday to the mother house, and Sister Monica Joan fakes a heart attack in an attempt to stay in Poplar. Meanwhile, the parish is raising funds at the summer fete. The entertainment includes the Scouts putting on a performance of Robin Hood under Fred's direction and a baby show. Trixie enlists a celebrity, Clifford Rains, to judge the baby show. He agrees if Trixie will accompany him on a date, which takes a sinister turn. So, ladies, should we talk about Nora Harding first? This is quite a heavy storyline.
Very heavy. Really tough. Really tough. Well, where should we go? Where should we start with?
Well, just so many things that I think we just take for granted. Contraception, like access to
more than 2 rooms. Like the fact that a baby got bitten on the cheek by a rat.
Rat.
Could not.
The thing is that council ruling, like they had too many kids to actually move them to that still goes on now. That kind of thing does still go on nowadays. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I just think the fact that they were left in that building entirely on their own, like that must be a bit, well, I mean, that's not the most serious issue in their lives.
Sure, you'd spread out. You'd move into different flat, put the older kids in a room or a flat or whatever.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be honest, girls. The housing situation was really not the main focus for me. I wasn't really worried about where the sleeping arrangements were working out to be. I just have to be real. I have to tell you, I know I always talk about how I cry during these episodes when I watch. This one I did cry, but I was raging. Like Nora's story made me so angry, and I just, we're not a political podcast. I won't try to get into it too much, but the US has had a lot of news about this topic over the summer, and it's been something that has been very, very heavy on my mind, a lot of people's minds in this country. We have women and people who, have pregnancy have lost a lot of rights over here. And to think about a lot of people in America being right where Nora is right now in 2022 absolutely had me fuming. So I'm in
100% agreement. It's disgusting. So if you're listening to this, American Supreme Court.
Oh God. I mean, the fact that this woman, can't make a decision about how she wants to plan her family just left me like, I mean, there
was also a bit where she said about and I thought it was quite poignant the way she was saying how I've tried to avoid having sex with my husband, but you pay for it in different ways. So she was basically saying that she didn't find that worked for their relationship, and they weren't as intimate. It's better for them if they are. And then you're like, well, but you've got to then sacrifice that, because you shouldn't have to sacrifice anything. You should be able to do what you want to do when you want to do it.
The only positive out of this whole situation was I did completely feel that Bill and Nora were a team. Like they were totally in it together. It wasn't just like it was her problem to solve.
Yeah, totally. But I will say, so she went to the herbal remedies, basically the abortionist, but obviously she tried. Yeah. She gave us this thing that she thought would bring on an abortion that was she ingested, I'm guessing. But the number one, that woman was from Footballers' Wives, and she was amazing. If you've never seen Footballers' Wives, get on it. It's amazing.
I will never enjoy ever seeing that woman's face again. She's terrible.
She's amazing in Footballers' Wives.
Nothing against
bright
that
red hair in it,
obviously, but oh my gosh, what she did, I was
But when she knocks on the door of the abortionist, there's no other word for it, she's an abortionist.
No.
When she knocks on the door and like basically has a fight with her on the street, people are just watching it. Wasn't it lucky that her husband was there, like to stop the fight?
Very lucky, very lucky. Yeah. Oh
But
God.
also,
I mean,
I've got another thing to say about her. So obviously, she obviously didn't. She tried that, didn't work, and then she tried loads of different things, going in the bath with gin. Oh God, it was brutal. It was really awful.
terrible, terrible.
Then obviously she went back for the legal abortion, which is awful. You know, because obviously she didn't have the option of a legal abortion.
No.
So anyway, she went to that, and do you know the woman from Poplar's Wives was like, "Oh, let's get the unsavoury bit out of the way, shall we?" Referencing payment. Like, I'm sorry, surely the illegal abortion is the unsavoury part here. Like the money here is actually probably the best part of the deal that's going on.
Exactly.
How much she charged as well, considering these are like local women who she lives amongst.
Yeah, but also bearing in mind it is dead illegal, so she could go to prison. There's a risk. That's risk money.
Ugh. It's terrible.
When her husband came home with the package with the knitting needle and the crochet, but I thought he was going to have a pickle fork.
Well, that's quite romantic. We've got something for you, pickle fork.
Oh God. Just, I mean, every horror story that you hear about how desperately people seek out a way to end a pregnancy because they're just, I mean, and the line that really killed me was when she says, she's like, look, either this pregnancy is going to end or I'm going to end. I am not doing this. Like, there is no other way out for me. Like,
they made you think that she was going to.
Oh yeah, I mean, her desperation was absolutely palpable. I mean, I don't know, that actress who played Nora looked really familiar to me. I couldn't place her. I don't know if she's been in other things, but she did a great job. I mean, she looked as serious about this as you could possibly look. And the thing that also really broke my heart was when she was talking to Jenny about it, and she was like, and Jenny was like, oh, 17, you know, I mean, and I wasn't critical of Jenny. Like, obviously Jenny would think that this would be like a nice thing, or, you know, a good thing for her family. But then when clearly Nora is upset and she just is acting like, well, you know, I know not everybody's happy at the beginning, but we're going to get there. And it's like, no, I'm really not going to get there, nurse. I don't think you're getting this. And she's like, well, but you know, it's not really legal and we can offer you this, but we can't really right now. And contraception is available, but only if something. And, you know, like all these insane loopholes that this woman's never going to be able to jump through. And she's like, well, anyway, should we just keep talking about baby? And I was just like, Jenny, I mean, I really, truly did not criticize. I mean, in my head, I was like, I totally get where she's coming from. And I didn't think Jenny did anything out of line, but I just was like, wow, you are really missing the forest for the trees here. I mean,
well, at the same time, like obviously to Jenny, she sees families with 9 kids, 10 kids all the time. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
She's like, oh, it's just another one. Like, you've done it before. And like, yeah, that would be true if the husband was getting work or if they weren't stuck in this tiny flat. By the way, the actress is called Sharon Small, and I knew I recognised it. She was in Downton Abbey.
Oh, was she in Downton Abbey?
Apparently, she was someone called Marigold Shaw.
Oh.
No, I thought Marigold was a tiny little kid.
Yeah.
She's just that good of an actress. She can play a 40-year-old woman or an 8-year-old kid in this matter of years.
Just like those twins.
Yeah. Oh, and then just to get to the gnarly part. So after poor Nora has this, you know, really dreadful procedure, Jenny is at the fete and she sees Mr. Harding, and she says, oh, where's Mrs. Harding? Did it, you know, he's like, oh, she's not well, like she's really ill, nurse. And she's like, well, wait, what do you mean? And she says something about like the baby or whatever, and he's like, oh no, I don't think you're gonna have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah, but also he's got time with 8 kids with him. Like, if my husband went to the fete on his own with just my one daughter, he'd be like totally stressed, and he's got 8 kids running around there. And
they just raise themselves, Alex. Once you've got 8, you don't really need to do anything.
We're not living in the age of like modern invested parenting here. Like, this is a very like live and let live style of, you know, parenting. But then Jenny puts 2 and 2 together and she's like, oh my God. And she, you know, very wisely grabs Sister Julian and she runs and, you know, gets her and everything like that. And the line, I mean, Sister Julian is always solid gold, but the line when Jenny and her walk into the room and they see what's happened to Nora, Sister Julian knows immediately what has gone on. Jenny is like, oh my God, all my worst fears confirmed. And Jenny kind of gives this look, you know, like white as it goes to Sister Julian. And she says, oh, but she's had an abortion. And she's like, don't you think I've seen this many times before? Like, you think this is the worst I've seen of this? And it just was another one of those things where it's like absolutely unflappable. You can never get one over on Sister Julian. She's, yeah.
And also the fact that she has the sense that they need to clean up so the children aren't going to come back to.
Yeah. But also the other thing, we do need a klaxon right here.
I was about to say we need a klaxon.
Yep.
Because she says the immortal lines, and we will hear it once again many times in this show. Come on, writers. Has it come away? Has it come away, sister? Has it come away, nurse? Has it come away? I've spoken about my hatred for that awful. I know there's like, it's probably the only best way they can do it without basically making everyone sick or being too graphic or what, but change it up. Anyway, there's the klaxon.
Klaxon.
Speaking of klaxons as well, actually, there's another klaxon later on. I'll talk about it when we carry on.
Okay. So should we move on to the summer fate and Sister Bernadette's flirtation with Dr. Turner?
Can we just sorry, just one really quick thing. I know all of our listeners will have known this because they will have watched the episode, but I think, thank God, they gave Nora a happy ending because she survived. She did get to move into a rehousing program, but like 30 miles out of London. They show this really idyllic
in Harlow.
Yeah, where the family is walking down a field and she's holding the baby, but the baby that she had the year before. She survived. She's okay. She, you know, she's going to be all right and all that. But just to say, like, very, you know, like they gave us a happy ending in this one, but not always a happy ending for women who are in her position. So just
very rarely.
Yeah. So, oh God, I really didn't think she was going to make it, but thank God she
didn't.
So.
The first time I watched it, I was in tears, and then I saw her walking with the baby. Then I got really confused, thinking that was the baby, and then I realised she had one who was a year older already. Right, can we talk about the baby show, the summer fate?
Sure.
The vicar who walks in, the vicar's wife in slacks, is never to be
seen
again. So she's this like tour de force in this thing, and then we never see her again in the whole, like, what series? What are we on, series 11? And we'd never see her again. And she was like,
and where's the vicar? Vicar never materialized ever.
No, but they do have, obviously, spoiler alert coming up, but they do have Tom, don't they? They do have the what's his name?
Yeah, they do.
What does he do? What's he called?
Tom Hereford.
No, what's his position?
He's the vicar.
No, he's not. He's called something like an intermediate one.
Claret. They just said it. I just heard it. I just heard Barbara say it on an episode I just watched. You're the curate.
Can I just shout out that Jen has just remembered somebody's name from a future episode that she hasn't prepared for?
Well done. This is a big deal.
Hope springs eternal for my brain.
But also when the vicar's wife walks in and Sister, I just love Sister Evangelina when she goes, the vicar's wife in slacks.
She's great.
I was just going to say about the fact that when Nora is trying to pay for the abortion, she eventually she's got a pair of curtains that have been hanging in a flat, which she calls her better day curtains. And she has to sell them to pay for the abortion. Thank goodness she didn't end up at the summer fete where Cynthia had made them into outfits. Imagine seeing your
It was a really good job. She nearly died after having an illegal abortion because she didn't have to see some children dressed up in her curtains.
But it was just what the curtains meant to her.
I know. And a wedding ring. Like, I think she cared more about the curtains, to be honest with you, than the wedding ring. But I do think that's actually quite significant because it's just showed how strong their relationship was. She's just like, it's just a ring. Like, our marriage is strong as ever.
Yeah.
Right. So onto the thing. So the vicar's wife comes round and she's like, anyway, we're going to give money for that. She's ridiculously posh. We're going to give money to the two causes this year: leprosy and your neonatal unit. And Sister Julianne's like, great. And she's like, yes, we're thinking of a baby show. And she's like, what's a baby show? Like, to be fair, Sister Julianne, that's a bit thick. Like, you know, the two words are there. Like, you know.
They are, but I mean, it's so classic, like 1950s to like have these novelty wacky things that come up. You know what I mean? Like I feel like just the 1950s is like, oh, what if we put blah 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 and blah 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 and like just tried it? You know what I mean? It's like the 1950s are just this very, you know, like, oh, what if we just got a collection of babies and then just put them on, you know, like it just I feel like the 50s are just so full of that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, what if we added
I think that's the romanticized version.
Yeah, it is definitely.
Oh, but that lineup of babies in knitwear.
Oh, I thought of you, Bex. I thought of you just like dying over all of those cute little babies just in those little knitted outfits and everything.
Can I just go back to our first ever podcast we did together? Our first ever podcast we did where Jen was like, if you're into cute babies, this is a show for you. This is one, if you are into cute babies, that is for you. Right, so
if you've got a thing for babies in knitwear, this is an episode not to be missed.
So they say about having someone in, you know, to judge, and they're like, oh, you know, we should have someone. And then Jane is, I think Jane's amazing in this episode. She's like proper brave.
Yeah, she's proper grown in confidence. I love it.
It should be a man because she's got a bit of a Brummie accent. It should be I don't know why I keep doing these accents. Sorry, everyone. But it should be a man because women like men, and women are the ones who bring babies. I don't know where that accent went. But I really loved it when slip of the tongue, when Cynthia was saying about really attractive people, and she said Spike Milligan. Like, obviously to us, Spike Milligan's he's dead, but he was such an old man when he was on kids TV and stuff doing his poetry and things. Like,
literally don't even know who Spike Milligan is.
He's a really funny he's a comedian.
Yeah, I'll Google him while we're watching.
He's a British icon of comedy, and he was really, really funny. And on his gravestone in Latin it says, "I told you I was dead." He's amazing.
He was I mean I see a picture of him now in his younger years. He was all right.
Yeah, but it just made me laugh that she thought he was attractive.
Oh, he's born on my parents' wedding anniversary. Aw. Okay. Well, that's not interesting to anyone else but me, but anyways. But yeah, so they do decide to have the a famous celebrity, and Trixie comes up with a local, and this guy is, I just about to say this guy's fictional. Obviously he's fictional, Jennifer. Oh God. Clifford Rains. And so Trixie takes it upon herself to go make the case for him being the presenter.
Which is really good of her, to be fair, because it's not like she's not bloody busy. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, also, Jane said that her and Appleby Thornton are pen friends. Yeah.
I love it.
It's a small line, but I just think we had to get it in there.
Well, Jane was just badass in this episode. Like, she did something really brave towards it. I just loved it.
Yeah, when she got up on stage. Oh, well, we should talk about Clifford Rains and his date with Trixie. So he invites Trixie to his house, his flat, in return for judging the baby show. And then he basically tries it on with her.
But really, like, seedily, like, forcefully, innit? You know what annoyed me about though? Before she when she said, like, oh, I've got a date with him. Like, you know, she's single. She's not doing anything wrong. And they were all like a bit judgy on her. And I was a bit like, whoa, what has she actually done wrong there? She's single. And they were like, well, is he married? And she was like, I've actually checked it up in the library and he's divorced.
Also, how much do we take Google for granted? Like, we would like, Jen has literally just Googled Spike Milligan. She had to go to the library and look him up in Who's Who.
Yeah.
If anything, I'd be like, you know what? Go for it, girl. You've done your research.
Yeah. If this was a 1950s podcast, I would have had to press pause and then, you know, like wait.
There wouldn't be a podcast.
I know. Well, that's the funny part of it. So maybe not. Yeah. Who else's brain isn't really working tonight, huh?
True.
But I just think with Trixie, Trixie just comes across as really confident. Yeah. And I think in this, she's obviously really vulnerable.
Yes, definitely. Well, she comes home, doesn't she? And I was a bit worried they were going to be like victim blaming her, but they were like, it's not your fault. Like, Cynthia and Jenny were lovely to her. And they were like, oh, let's do some Horlicks, Klaxon. Horlicks, Klaxon.
I wrote it in my notes. Horlicks, Klaxon, yes.
Well done.
But also, didn't they mix Horlicks and Advocaat though?
Yeah. They were like, bring the whole bottle. And I thought, but actually, that's a nod to future storyline for Trixie.
It is.
Yeah. So, I'll just leave that there. But then after that, so basically she was crying, blah, blah, blah. But then they did an amazing, it was seamless. Did an amazing montage for the next day, which was, I'm gonna wash that man right out of my hair. And then they just went straight to the maypole and the fair with all the babies. It was, I was like that. Do you know what, Call the Midwife? That was amazing.
Also, on that note, can I just say, and this is a trend I've started to notice throughout the show too, is they juxtapose something relatively benign, like Trixie painting her nails, the red paint, with something really, really horrible that they don't really want to show you in full graphic detail, but they want you to understand what's happening as it gets by stage, which in this case was Nora Harding's really, really terrible kind of like abortion. So that was kind of I think a nice way that and that's something I've seen them do over and over again, where they put something together that's relatively easy to watch with something that's hard to watch, and to kind of give you, that like the sense of what's happening without pushing it too hard, which I really appreciate.
I need to make a confession. I've watched this episode billions of times. I've never once ever been able to watch the abortion scene. I've always fast forwarded it. Oh
yeah, it's so grim. It's
for those of you who don't know me, which is most of you, I am the most squeamish person in the world and would faint.
Yeah. No, it's pretty terrible. Wait, and then also, can I just say, because I think this is a very like short thing that happens at the beginning of the episode, but Sister Evangelina is going on a like nun vacation to the beach or to somewhere, I can't remember now, and Sister Monica Jones went to go with her, and Sister Monica Jones puts up such a fight that she fakes a heart condition to get out of it, and then everyone has to do all this work to find like ways to make her happy so that she can, quote, convalesce at home. And there
was a line that was hilarious. There was a line that was hilarious. I actually had to Google this person because it's not the 1950s. I can do that. But they were, obviously she was supposed to go, and then I think it was either Sister Julienne or Sister Evangelina. I think it might have been Sister Julienne, because I was a bit like, oh, but they said, oh, Dame Sybil Thorndike, basically about calling Sister Monica Jones that, and it's a really famous Shakespearean actress.
Oh, that would be like saying like someone is like, Meryl Streep nowadays, basically.
Yeah, or we'd probably say, who would we say, Bex? We'd say a British legend that is Dame Judi Dench.
Judi Dench, yeah.
I did write a note to myself around the Sister Monica Jones storyline. Like, Jen will be outraged by this. The fact that she had them call an ambulance. She was admitted to hospital, just because she didn't want to go on holiday. And
well,
she wanted to felt.
Why would you want to miss out? Luckily for Sister Evangelina, she didn't miss out. Well, luckily, I don't know if I'd want to go to a nunnery either. But she obviously lives there, so she's a nun, she loves it. But obviously, Sister Monica Jones was there, and Clifford Rains didn't turn up. He called off, which again is another slap in the face to Trixie. And then Jane stood on stage, and I was so proud of her.
The guts it must have taken for her to get up there.
I wouldn't have been able to do that. And she was like properly like, I just think that I don't know why I'm doing that accent again, sorry everyone. Just think that I'm doing it, Jen. It's time. I just think someone with experience should do it, and I don't think there's anyone better than Sister Monica Jones. And then Sister Monica Jones chooses the best baby. We didn't see the best baby, did we? Did we actually see it?
No,
I would like to be judging that.
They were all so cute. Those babies were so cute.
But there is a bit where Cynthia says all babies are beautiful, and I was like, oh, no, they're not.
They're not.
I mean, these babies in their knitwear were very cute. And then Trixie says, but all mothers are competitive. And I was like, yes, they are.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
That is true. Maybe some for not nefarious reasons, but some because they're like actually genuinely worried theirs are behind. But most are literally just conceited. Also, tell you what else happened in this episode. There was nuns in the chapel with them again, singing in Nonata's house. I've never seen those nuns before or since. Like, who are these nuns and where do they go when there's work to be done?
Do you know what they're like? They're like, and this is a good reference because it's an international show. It's like on Law and Order SVU, where obviously there's got to be more people in the special victims unit than just like in the current season, like 3 detectives and Mariska Hargitay, who's the captain. But like, we never see them. They're never on any cases. They never investigate anything. All you see is like, I can't remember all the detectives' names right now, which is of no surprise to anyone. But anyways, that's the point. It's like, it's like an ER. Like there's like 6 doctors in a whole hospital. Obviously not, but you just have to.
Yeah, but at least they've got a role. Like these ones are literally in a tiny, tiny little chapel.
But where's Mrs. B? Where's anybody? I mean,
well,
there's so many people there
in the kitchen with Mrs. B. That's where
I'll
they
tell you
are.
where they are. They're with the vicar. And the vicar's wife, who will never be seen again.
I have to say though, with Jane, so Sister Monica Jones, she didn't want to go on holiday. She felt like she didn't have a purpose. And Jane realised that and was trying to kind of rally her along. I think Jane is more emotionally intelligent than Jenny Lee.
I just think
she really...
You're exactly right, Beck. She's definitely more than Jenny for sure.
Do you know what? There was a scene with Jane at the start with she was licking some stamps with Sister Monica Jones, and the way she was licking those stamps was comedy genius. I love it. I tell you what,
you have to go back and watch that.
You do need to go back and see that. Do you know what? I'll try and find a picture and I'll put it on our podcast, on our social media. So, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. But it's amazing. But also, I tell you what else shocked me. I literally audibly gasped the first time I heard this when they were talking about the gollies, and I was like, oh my goodness, that is. I know it was set in the 50s, but that's close to the bone.
Well, this isn't the first reference because Sister Monica Jones has been merrily knitting gollies.
Yeah, I know. And I'm just
I don't know what that is.
Right, well, Google it. So
wait, Gullys? Gollies?
Golly.
Oh god, it's another ball moment.
Wait, golly?
Right, hang on.
I don't get this.
Oh, right, we'll talk about it later. So
UK
everyone
slang?
No.
Well, it might be. Oh no, not golly gosh.
Oh.
Jen, we'll talk about it. We'll tell you later.
We have an international audience. You guys can't do this.
It's literally unsayable. We cannot tell you the next part.
Okay.
We will tell you off air.
Okay.
So,
anyways.
Anyway.
We need to talk about Turnerdette because Sister Bernadette has obviously been struggling. Her and Dr. Turner have been exchanging glances and long looks. But I have to say, the confidence of Dr. Turner. So Dr. Turner is called away to Nora and has to leave the summer fete. He was supposed to be in a 3-legged race with Timothy. Timothy has once again been abandoned. So Sister Bernadette steps in, competes in the 3-legged race with Tim. They fall over at the end. She grazes her hand. Dr. Turner then goes to help her. The confidence of him to kiss a nun's hand.
Well, you know what as well, though? A cut hand. I've been watching Dharma on Netflix, and he's all about, body parts. It just seemed a bit Dharma-esque to me. That seemed a bit weird. To be kissing a cut hat. All right, Turner, if that's what turns you on? Don't know what he gets up to in his,
Okay, I think your mind has been turned by a very nefarious source. I think the hand kissing is so romantic. It's completely apropos. I mean, it makes complete sense. Hands are always, they're like, I don't know if you guys remember this. This movie came out when I was in high school, I think. The Age of Innocence with Daniel Day-Lewis and
I've not seen it. I've heard of it.
Was it Michelle Pfeiffer?
Yes, Michelle Pfeiffer. And there's a scene in that movie where everything is so buttoned up. It's like the most restrictive society. And he opens like a button on her glove and he kisses her wrist, and it's like the most unbelievable thing that could ever happen. And
I don't know. I cut on her hand. I'm sorry, the cut on the hand. I'd be like, get off it.
Well, it was. I thought it was just.
He doesn't. It wasn't
like an open gash. Skin. It was like just a light scrape. I mean,
Do you know what else?
She was being a bit dramatic.
There was another bit in it where I've written here seduction, right? Where she says to him, he's talking about what they need for like the clinic or something, and she said the wicks get damp and they won't burn. And I was like, oh, seduction! Like it's like they both look at each other for a longing glance, and then Timothy interrupts them and comes in. But like,
I know
what's going to happen then as well. Basically, they're alluding to the point that Turnerdette is a thing.
I wrote in my notes, I wrote Turnerdette discussing spirit labs and have a moment. Hot water heaters really are a turn on.
But also, like, obviously, you also see Sister Bernadette. They're all having all the young midwives are having snowballs in the room, and Sister Bernadette's listening, and Sister Celia's Cynthia.
Yeah.
Cynthia's like, it's Compline. We need to be quiet. So she closed the door, and like Bernadette's like closed out, and I thought, oh, that's a good scene. And also, like, obviously, she keeps trying to talk to Sister Julienne, which really annoys me. Because Sister Juliet, she comes in and she's like, oh, I really need to talk to you about something. It's something that's very concerning to me. And then she's like, gets a phone call about Sister Monica Joan. Obviously, Sister Bernadette doesn't know this. But like Sister Julienne, in the most un-Sister Julienne-like fashion, because normally she's very compassionate and very emotionally intelligent, she says to her, I really don't think I can do without you. I'm like, that's the worst time you can ever bring that up after she's just come in to tell you she's got a concern.
Well, yeah, but she doesn't know what she's going to say, so she's just saying it.
But also she completely forgets about Sister Bernadette until Sister Monica Joan basically shames her.
Yeah, but then Sister Monica Joan is awful with that, isn't she? I don't know why I'm surprised. She's awful.
Ugh. Okay, so should we do a quick game?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll make it fast.
I do have a zero and a hero prepared.
Oh, we're going to do zeros and heroes. All right, so we'll do it quick. So here, I was thinking about things that were going on in this era, because obviously this episode talks about things that now are modern and we accept, but maybe they weren't at the time. So I have a bunch of questions, and they all are UK based, so since you guys are the audience. Okay, first question. When did British money go to the modern decimal system? Was it 1968, 1975, or 1971?
68?
I would go 68.
1971.
Oh.
You said 1975.
Yeah. Huh?
You said 1975.
No, 71 was an option. There were three options.
I thought it was 75, the second one. I was listening dead intently.
Okay. When did abortion become legal in the UK? 1967, 1970, or 1975?
1975.
I would guess that.
1967.
Oh, well done, us Brits.
Yeah. And you guys were before the US on that. Okay. When did birth control pills become available to women in the UK? 1961, 1967, or 1972?
Is this all women or just married?
Well.
Oh, right.
Think about it. I said become available to women. 61, 67, or 72?
72.
1967, it became available to all women. In 1961, it was only available to married women. Okay. All right. When did women in the UK get the right to vote? 1920, 1932, 1928.
1920.
Bex?
28.
Bex is right. 1928. And actually, the US was ahead.
Had 100 years suffrage. I was thinking, sure, it's in here.
No, the UK was actually behind the US on that one. We got the vote earlier. Okay. When did women in the UK get the right to own land? 1912, 1926, or 1936?
26. My grandma was born then.
I'm going to say 1912.
1926. Alex was right on that one. Okay. And last question. When did women all over the world get girl power? 1895, 1996. We've always had girl power.
And you're so American. I love it.
Go ahead, Alex.
That's a stupid question.
Okay, well, it's also a trick question because, of course, we've always had girl power, but I was just making a joke.
Right, can I just say, women over the age of 30 were allowed to vote in 1918. It was over 21 that it was 1928, which is why I was confused. Anyway, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Alex,
let's pretend you knew all.
No, it's because I knew there was a 100-year thing of suffrage. I knew there was one recently.
Okay. Well, just to say that, we should all take our rights and abilities very seriously. So.
Well, so many of them we just take for granted that.
We do.
The thing is, we'll hopefully in like 50 years my daughter will be looking back being like, oh, I can't believe they stood for that. Do you know what I mean?
I know. Here's hoping.
It's still unequal. You know, we've only ever had 2 awful female prime ministers, 3 actually now, awful female prime ministers.
And the US has never had a female president, so don't even get me started on that.
Yeah,
Do not
true.
even get me started.
True.
All right, heroes and zeros.
I'll start. My hero has just got to be the lineup of babies in knitwear at the baby show. Just the dreamiest. Lush.
They're so sweet.
And then my zero has got to be abortionists. Well, illegal abortionists in the 1950s.
There you go.
The fact that none of them have cottoned on to the fact that they should just sterilize their tools.
And they're getting paid extra. Like, they're getting paid so much money. Like, sterilize your tools, mate.
Well, it's a pot of boiling water. My God.
Well, when they walk in, they say, "Oh, we've got the hot water." But just dunk the tools in there to start with, and you're on something.
Rusty. I just moved back. Genuinely made myself feel like I was
truly a good zero, Bex, because it like literally brought Al to like physical illness there.
My zero is rust. No, it's not. Hurry on.
No, you go next. You go next.
Yeah, you go.
I will go next because you always steal mine.
Yes, exactly.
My hero is Jane. What an episode for Jane. She came into her own. She was emotionally intelligent. She was hilarious. She was confident. She was fantastic. I just love her. She's the best. Jane. My zero of the week is going to be Sister Monica Joan for pretending to have a heart attack. So poor Sister Evangelina nearly missed out. Like, just what a selfish cow.
That behavior just is so irritating. It's like, you're a nun, you know what I mean? Like, stop and think about how other people feel about this. And
that's what I don't understand about it. She's got no compassion.
Well, and it's like, everyone's like,
pretty big requisite for being a nun.
Oh God, I don't know.
Just the resources, like they get an ambulance for her. She's taken up a hospital bed needlessly just because she didn't want to go on holiday.
And then Sister Julian says the thing about, either like if you eat this like pudding or whatever, then you can go home. And she's like, but if I eat it, then they're saying I'm gonna be well. And she's like, well, you're gonna have to convalesce either way. So it just matters of when you eat the pudding. And then she literally snatches it out of her hands and eats the pudding. And just, Sister Monica Joan, just that's all. Okay. Hero and zero for me. A zero. Just everything that Nora had to do to try and terminate her pregnancy. I just, whatever you think about the topic is everyone's own individual opinion, but the suffering that she underwent to try to make a decision that she felt was best for her, that she felt was best for her family, just was really heartbreaking. And I've heard a lot about all these things that go on when people are in those kind of desperate situations, but seeing in this episode really got me. So I really feel for that.
Just on that point, just really quick, gin, like, she obviously, it was called Mother's Ruin in the 50s. Like, obviously she had loads of gin with a hot bath. Like, gin nowadays is so like popular. I was like, oh my goodness, like, if anything new, just like avocados. Anyway, carry on, sorry.
Yeah, cultural mores. And then my hero, I'm gonna say, I think the way that Cynthia and Jenny rallied around Trixie, and the way that Trixie, like, how do I want to say this? I just feel grateful that Trixie kind of stood up for herself against Clifford, was able to get away. Again, that was the luck of that situation that she was able to, but then also the loving support that she got when she got home from those two girls that kind of really reassured her, really supported her, listened to her. I was really glad to see it. So,
and she made the reality of "I'm gonna wash that man right out of my head." She made that a reality. I love that for her.
Yeah. Her resilience in the face of that is quite admirable. So I was glad for that.
Wow, that's it, ladies. Thank you. Which episode are we on next week? Which one? I've totally forgotten where we're up to. Series 2,
Series 2, episode 6 next week.
Oh gosh.
Also, to everyone who's followed, we've had so many people listening and following us and commenting and giving us, we've had some gorgeous messages. So thank you so much.
Love hearing from people.
Yeah, and if you've got any questions or anything you want us to cover, or any topics or any game ideas or any ideas or anything, just send them through to us. We are recallthemidwife@gmail.com. We're on Facebook, Recall the Midwife. We're on Instagram, Recall the Midwife podcast, and we are on Twitter, Recall the Midwife pod. It would be lovely to have any suggestions and also any questions you've got, and we can give you a shout out or whatever. So yeah, thank you so much for listening.
Anyone who listens, we think you are 5 out of 5 beautiful babies in knitwear.
That was weird. I'm gonna keep it in just to show how weird you are.
As if they do not know already.
But yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, join us next week while we discuss Series 2, Episode 6. And yeah, why not watch it and listen along with us?
See you next week, ladies.
Bye.
Bye.